So one of the things I think is interesting, so corporate America, right?
Yeah.
Corporate Cheryl, what was it? I mean, I don't think you're at retirement by any means, but
No.
like you were successful in this means, right? We've had key
Yeah.
people like Dave O and I think Cal Fernandez and
Yep.
some other people talk about the golden handcuffs, like how
Yeah.
to leave, when is the
Right.
right time, should I do it, is it ever the right time? How did your transition, because you worked your way up pretty high in that organization.
Yeah.
How did you like, how, why, like what was your thought process?
Honestly, you go through, and I was there for over 20, almost 24 years. You go through peaks and valleys in your career. And there were times that I was enjoying it and loving it. And there were times that I was like, I need to find another opportunity. But I never really thought that other opportunity was real estate investment. I never even thought of self-employment. In my mind, I thought of self-employment as like owning a store or something that I couldn't leave to go enjoy my vacations and trips. And I don't know why, but that was the box I was in because I really never thought of it because I went to college, I started a job, and that was my path. Never thought outside of that path. Um, and but I was in a period of my career that I wasn't enjoying it, and I had some frustration, and I didn't like the vibe that we had. It wasn't a real positive vibe anymore. I worked in fraud, which there's just a lot of negativity around that.
Yeah,
So yeah, so
fraud.
your people calling in are frustrated. Your reps who are taking those calls are frustrated. You don't know if you're talking to a fraudster or if you're talking to a customer. So there's just so much negativity. So I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And they offered a package to thousands of employees had the opportunity to volunteer for this package. And you didn't know if you would get accepted. So I volunteered right away. Like there was no question. I went home. I told Mike, oh yeah, I'm volunteering for this. He's like, sure, go ahead. And they gave me a lot of money to leave. But I had to wait to find out if I was accepted. So
What a weird.
so it really wasn't like there's a lot of people who they have to figure out how they're going to leave. They find real estate investing and they decide, how do I leave? How much do I save? None of that. They gave me a paycheck to leave, a big one. And with that, I had the money to hire a coach, and not a cheap coach. I hired a great coach and I paid a lot of money for it, but I had that from there. It was, but I had actually been praying for something to change. I had been praying, I remember walking into my building saying, Lord, let me find something that, a way to leave, a path. And in my position, I managed many people, and those aren't typically the positions that are cut. So I never expected the way for to leave to be this opportunity, because when you have that many people underneath you, you're not the one who's riffed, right? But they offered this package to multiple people and I volunteered. And so at the time, my great friend Sandra is like, come check out what I'm doing. And I said, okay, well, this is a long offboarding process when you leave. It was a 6-month process. I'll check it out. But I didn't check it out for 6 months. I waited until I left. And then I started going to a couple of meetings with her. Took some time off, but I hired that coach. So I left corporate in like March of 2019. And I went to a training the very end of May. And so, after that 3-day training, I hired that coach and I jumped right in. So that was probably like June 1st, 2019, jumped right in wholesaling and just
Right.
went
So
all
define
in.
wholesaling really quick.
So wholesaling is finding a property and getting it under contract and then finding buyers. You're only targeting the buyers who are people who flip houses and people who want rentals, landlords. So those are your only targets. So you are working directly with the sellers to get the house under contract, and then you are basically selling the contract. And so I knew none of that. He had to explain what that was to me. And I thought, okay, sure, I'll try it. And so I started marketing. That was part of the deal. The agreement is that I would pay for my own marketing. In addition to paying for a coach, I paid for my own marketing. and I found my own leads. And so then he helped me with what to do with those. And so he walked houses with me. He walked houses just for trying to figure out how much it would cost, because I had no idea. I had never fixed a thing in my life. I didn't know what a stack was. He had to explain that to me a couple of times. What's a stack? Remind me, what I'm taking pictures of when I'm here.
I mean, that's like glossary of terms. Like that's just fundamental stuff. But if you don't know it,
Right, like there was no reason I would ever need to know it, And so it was great. It was so fun. I have to say, one of the best things that I enjoyed in the beginning, and I enjoy it now too, but in the beginning, I grew up in St. Louis. I grew up in Florissant. And so, I had been to U City. I had been to South County. But I had never, been from, Florissant to U City to South County. I'd never taken the path all through St. Louis. So it was not all connected to me. If you were going to go to the Loop, you went to the Loop and then you went home. I had never connected. So there was so much of St. Louis I hadn't seen. I've always loved our city. I'm a hometown girl. I left for 7 years, but when I came back, I've always been, a loyal fan of St. Louis. I love our flyover state. We are a best kept secret, and sometimes it's nice to keep it secret.